Mark Leibovich, chief national correspondent for the New York Times Magazine, is in Washington. He has covered several candidates on the campaign trail, including Donald Trump. Good morning.
Hi, Charlie. Good to be here.
So how does Trump handle the fact that he's not going to be able to get the endorsement of some people that generally a Republican nominee would have?
I think you do it in pure Trump fashion. You're dismissive of it, you ignore it, and you say, look, I'm running a different kind of campaign, I'm a different kind of candidate. I wouldn't expect these traditional political figures to get behind me. Having said that, I mean, look, this is the general election is a time to consolidate your support within the party, and this is not going to be helpful in that regard.
Donald Trump says that he will pivot, that he will change his tone as we head to the general election, but your article seems to indicate that you do not seem convinced, Mark, of that.
Well, first of all, he's talked about pivoting maybe like 8 or 9 times in the last 2 months. It generally holds less than 48 hours, if that. So, his recent history is not very good at sort of holding a pivot. But look, I mean, there is this sort of, not a blank slate, but certainly a rethinking that goes on generally in this season once you have 2 presumptive nominees. Mm-hmm. The question is, I mean, has Trump just done too much damage, and has he defined himself so deeply that it's really a no turning back situation for him?
What message does it send that President H.W. Bush and President George W. Bush will not endorse Donald Trump? And do you expect we might hear the same from Mitt Romney?
I do expect that there's going to be more from that. I think there'll be a Mitt Romney. There'll be probably a few senators and governors along the way. But I think it sends a huge message. I mean, it's very easy to dismiss the Bushes as yesterday's politics, as yesterday's Republican Party. But there's a lot of suburban Republicans, a lot of mainstream Republicans who, I don't know if they revere them, but they certainly respect them a great deal and will follow this lead. And I think it's a very, very big statement.
But a lot of people who support Trump would say, so what? I don't care if the Bushes support him or not. But does it matter maybe more in fundraising, this money that Trump wants to raise?
I think it matters more in a general election. I mean, I think a lot of people who support Trump, within a Republican primary counts for maybe 20–25% of the overall electorate. I mean, this is a very different population that he is trying to appeal to. I mean, it involves, again, mainstream Republicans, people who wouldn't have supported him in the primaries, and also swing voters. So, again, I think that's an important, it's an important move, and I think that it will, I don't know if it'll haunt him, but I think, especially right out of the gate, it's a big statement.
I hear from political reporters that the Clinton campaign already has a war room and a lot of negative stuff ready to go. What exactly is it that they have that hasn't been said?
There's probably a lot. I mean, there's a lot of books that have been written about Donald Trump. I mean, there's a lot of information out there that I assume that either they have or other journalists or other news organizations will have. But look, I mean, I think this is a strange election in that both of these candidates are so thoroughly defined. They're both, probably as 2 of the biggest celebrities that has ever run for president. So I think, new information is not the kind of thing that's going to move this. I mean, I think the negative impressions of these 2 people are pretty solidified at this point, and it's sort of a question of how they can reverse that at the margins and whether it can actually get close enough for Trump to actually get over the line.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to watch. Thank you very much, Mark Leibovich, joining us from
everyone.
Washington, D.C.